when I first started the business, I underestimated how much time would need to be spent thinking about privacy and staying 5-6 months ahead of regulation related to privacy.
Hey everyone, this is Nazar Akil from Max Pro.
Hi, I'm Linda.
And I'm Paul.
And we're Love and Pebbles.
Hi, this is Lopa Vandermersch from Rasa.
Oh, you're listening to...
And you're listening to the E-Comm Show.
Welcome to the E-Comm Show, presented by BlueTuskr, the #1 place to hear the inside scoop from other e-commerce experts, where they share their secrets on how they scaled their business and are now living the dream. Now, here is your host, Andrew Math.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the E-Comm Show. I'm your host, Andrew Math, as usual, and I am joined today by the amazing Ben Jabbawy of Privy. Ben, how you doing? You ready for a good show?
What's up, Andrew? Great to be here. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. Excited to catch up.
This is going to be great. So I'm super excited to have you on the show. I've been a big fan of Privy. At this point, I've worked with you guys for... Wow. You started in 2010, 2011. I think you joined Shopify App Store, right? Yeah. So I probably wasn't too far behind off of that when I met you guys. So I've been along for the entire journey, and it's been quite the journey. You guys have gone from essentially basically just catering to mostly I know you did some brick and mortar, but then you also did you were the leader in pop-ups, and now you've got all this other stuff going on. So why don't I give you a second here and just kind of let everyone know a little bit more about Privy and yourself and your story.
Yeah. So it is a long story. It's funny to have been doing this for 10 years. It's crazy to think about that. But today, Privy is focused on small and mid-sized e-commerce brands, and we're an all-in-one messaging suite. So that's website conversion, email marketing, and SMS. You mentioned our roots were in list growth. So there was a point in time, I think I actually built our first website on Squarespace. And, we used to just say the tools you need to grow your list. So that was where we started. And then our support model and focus on small business had us evolve into the all-in-one messaging suite. And today we're about 80 employees on the Privy side. We serve over 100,000 Shopify stores, a bunch of BigCommerce, a bunch of Wix Commerce as well. And we are part of the Attentive company as well. They acquired us about a year ago now.
Nice. So what was that whole move for? What was the why go through the acquisition? And was it to expand, obviously, the offering, or what was the thought behind that?
Yeah. So the acquisition happened June 2021, which I think was a
happy birthday.
Yes, that's right. We're still in June. It was a fascinating time in e-commerce, right? Everyone felt the bumps from COVID, the acceleration of e-commerce. Certainly, SaaS for e-commerce felt that. Privy benefited from that as well, and that was the macro around us. The other things in this ecosystem that were happening were, Klaviyo was raising tons of money. Attentive, I don't know if you remember seeing, it almost felt like every other month there was a $50 to several $100 million funding announcement. I remember seeing Attentive's funding announcement and I was like, whoa, Privy, we weren't a bootstrapped company. We had raised $10 million, but we were kind of, in a way, competing with giants in that respect. And so we ended up getting just a bunch of inbound interest at that time. And Attentive's pitch to us was really incredible for me as a founder, because their pitch was, hey, don't worry about fundraising. We're successful with that. We've got tremendous resources. And we just want Privy to focus on small business and support customers, in the way that we have done, continue to do, which lines up very well with Attentive's service model. Yeah. And for me, that meant that I got to get rid of basically half of the job that I didn't love. I don't think anyone really loves fundraising, and focus 100% of my time on the stuff that I do love, which is working with customers and working with my team. So it was awesome. And then, the other kind of half of the pitch was we'll actually get to use those resources to grow our team in a market and in a way that we couldn't have done otherwise, right? So, it's been amazing, and they've really stayed true to that even after the acquisition, fully supportive of the direction of Privy.
From like an outsider's perspective, it really kind of looks like, the acquisition went through, but Privy maintained, like, there wasn't a rebranding. There wasn't, everything got blended under Attentive. Like there was nothing out crazy from an outside. Is that kind of the same case internally, or is that a plan as time goes on? What's the merge looking like?
Yeah, I mean, the things that have changed, like we definitely built a much tighter integration between the Privy list growth tools and Attentive. There's a lot more synergy. Like we are kind of introducing the Attentive platform to some of our larger customers, and that's gone really well. But the Privy company, I mean, I'm still running it. I have autonomy in doing that. I think like we have the resources, the team's still intact. Nothing has really changed except that like Attentive, just as a company, and I'm not trying to shill them, like they invest in their people. And so we've actually we've been able to pay our people better benefits. Like they're, so we still have that small company feel within a much larger entity. And also I think what's really interesting is like when you're an independent company, your strategy changes quite a bit in the early stages, right? But now as part of Attentive, like the directives are very clear because they support mid-market and enterprise. So there's no one around the room saying, Privy, you got to abandon small business because like it's hard for small business and you can make more money.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, Privy is messaging for small business. Stay there, get better at that, and don't think about anything else. It's cool.
Yeah. You brought up one of your main competitors earlier, so I feel safe to bring him up. So Klaviyo obviously is being kind of the big one. the big guy in the space, the green one. Although I don't think they're green anymore.
Yeah.
How do you kind of see the differentiators between Privy and Klaviyo?
Yeah. I have so much respect for them. I've met Andrew a bunch. I remember we had beers very early on in Boston. Great guy. Ed, co-founder there, just like incredible team, right? I think we're doing different things for different people.
Yeah.
Klaviyo has a fantastic product. It's an enterprise product, right? Like their APIs, their level of segmentation, their customization, like Privy, that's not what Privy wants to be. Like, I think there's so many brands that need that and they love that and they expect that. But like, don't forget that, probably 1.5 million of Shopify stores are founder led, right? And so like, they don't need, a Mercedes. What they need is a Toyota with like a great service model. And that's what Privy's mission is. Like, we want more entrepreneurs to cross, 1 million in sales. Like, that's like the elusive mark. And so our model is like, we want to be the best at supporting our customers. And so that means like our live chat experience, right? Less than a minute during business hours.
I saw that. Yeah.
We give people calls. Like, we just do things that other vendors don't. It doesn't matter, Klaviyo or otherwise. And so like, our email marketing product is never intended to be like enterprise level. It's just, it's going to be the basics that you need with an incredible support.
Yeah. I say, I kind of brought it up because one of the things I was thinking about, like, I use both platforms for a lot of different people we work with, and, kind of go in and out of them and kind of have preferences for some as others. And one of the things that's always been just absolutely mind blowing to me that you guys have done since almost day one, I would say, is your customer support is incredibly impressive. from like, if we're comparing apples to apples right now, we're talking about Klaviyo, like I can't get a hold of anyone there unless I talk directly to my rep there. Whereas if one of our clients wants to get a hold of someone, it's a nightmare. For you guys, you were responding in less than a minute during business hours. I think you have until like 9 or something,
Yeah,
right?
9 p.m.
And
Eastern.
so
Yeah.
for a business like yours, especially in my eyes, where you're working primarily with, as you said, like the founder-led Shopify owners, they're going to have more questions consistently because there's a lot of training involved, especially when you're first starting out with a business. And it's really impressive that you guys have customer service that can respond that quickly and be that attentive, no pun intended, to be able to actually help these sellers out that are basically just starting off and kind of getting their business going. So it is incredibly impressive. How did you manage to put all of that together? How big's your customer service team?
It's one of our largest teams. I mean, we're 80 plus people. I think that team is probably in the mid 30s now. In different functions. We have live chat reps. We have onboarding reps that give you one call or 2 calls, depending on the plan and size of your business. And then we have dedicated customer success managers that manage our largest customers. And this came to be because I was sitting in a room with our developers early on doing the support and doing the live chat, even for our free users. And I was like, this is gold for us, because it may change their trajectory as a business if they like understand a concept better in our product or use a different campaign type in a way that they hadn't figured out on their own, right? Which is like, obviously you want a beautifully self-serve product, but like that's a myth, If you just rely on self-serve and documentation, like, yeah, some people will fish for themselves, but like you got to be there, right? Yeah. There's a little bit of context. And so I saw the impact that can have on a merchant's trajectory, on a merchant's sales, but also what that did. They're like, oh, wow, like we just got a response quickly. We never get that, and it's because they're used to dealing with vendors that aren't built that way. And so I can't take credit for it. The team we brought in that runs support, that runs customer success, like, that's what makes Privy special. And time again, I think, like, I don't think anyone's out there being like, oh, we gotta like, go against Privy or anything like that. But I think the thing time and time again that has helped us scale to where we are is just like, it's a simple equation. It's a relatively easy to use product with great support. That's it. There's no AI, there's no magic to it. And it's been a big part of our story.
Yeah. It is incredibly impressive, especially just the thought process of having someone respond that quickly. Because there's not a lot of apps or software platforms anywhere that you get that kind of customer service. So it's impressive.
Agreed. I do have one follow-up thought on that too. Like, I think over the past 5 years, I know this is the E-Comm show, we're talking about SaaS, but the past 5 years, like there's been a move to like introduce chatbots. And so I think a lot of brands or marketers in this space are using software vendors that have a chat option. And the first thing that comes back is, oh, is this what you were looking for? Click here to like do it. It's a chat bot, right? And so like software vendors do everything in their power to like drive efficiencies in support as opposed to like engage. And I like engaging better.
That's a good point. So I guess kind of with that, so, there's been so many changes since Privy's started, right? And especially from just a legality or attribution and all that different stuff. Like you had Google start hurting people with pop-ups that were on mobile that were taking up the full screen. You have GDPR stuff going into place. You have obviously iOS now that's limiting tracking and for email and a lot of other stuff. How is it you guys are kind of changing with the times as those rules go into place? And then also, where do you think that it's going to end up going?
Yeah, no, it's a great call. I think when I first started the business, I underestimated how much time would need to be spent thinking about privacy and staying, 5-6 months ahead of, regulation related to privacy. I think that all happened for the right reasons. And I think the industry is better off for it. But I think it created a lot of noise and changes in behavior that have kind of diminished consumer experiences on websites, because you've got accept cookies, you've got a top of funnel email capture, you got a lot of stuff now.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit unfortunate, but we there's a few things that drive our roadmap: customer requests, but also regulation and privacy. And you got to just, part of your DNA as a business needs to be watching that stuff and getting ahead of it. And so we have made significant changes over the years for each of the things that you've mentioned. But I think all in, it has just driven everyone back to a spot where they say, you know what, there's nothing more valuable than building, zero party data, or, in simpler terms, just information that you are asking and collecting about your own customers that you own. And that's probably the single best thing you can do as a brand to combat any future changes that may arise on the social networks or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the rules and things that are getting put into place, I definitely understand how while it's a pain to deal with when they first happen, whether obviously from your perspective or from a brand's perspective, it's a pain, but at the same time, it is most likely improving your customer's experience. So while it's giving you a headache to get it done, it is usually helping out in the long run. And if you're missing out on data and stuff, that means that you need to stop relying so much and just look at the picture and listen to your customer more. So it makes a lot of sense. But have you started to, because you guys have been doing this for so long, and now you've gone from pop-ups to email to SMS, and you keep expanding. Do you have kind of a general guideline around how many touch points for a customer when you're speaking to one of these brands? Like how many times you should be hitting them with a pop-up, how many times you should be emailing them or shooting them a text, and do you guys advise on that, and what does that usually look like?
Yeah, so we definitely have opinions about that stuff. A lot of those opinions are baked into the product, but you can always get yourself into trouble. And a lot of the regulation is baked into the product for you because it's impossible to ask people to keep up with these regulations. You got to just trust that the SaaS solutions you put in place do that for you. So I've got a long-term take here. My long-term take is that as SMS becomes more prevalent between marketers and consumers, I think what's going to happen is when you opt in to a pop-up or a form or to a brand or whatever, you're just going to choose. Do you prefer email or do you prefer SMS? Mm-hmm. And I think the SaaS platforms will kind of abstract channel choice away from the user of that software. The marketer or the brand owner just wants to get that message to that person, right? And hopefully that's a relevant message. And they shouldn't have to choose what channel they're doing that through, right? And yes, there should be unified opt out across channels and different all of that stuff's great. But that's kind of my vision of where things are headed. And I think that email and SMS will start, inbox management will look more similar across both, right? There's already a lot of talk about that. So I think we're trying to prepare for a world that looks like that, where you're orchestrating around customers and conversations that you're trying to have with customers and thinking less about which channels you're doing those through. But near term, I think you need to try to capture an email for loyal or middle or bottom of funnel folks. We've seen a tremendous success with SMS and click-through rates and order rates from SMS. So I'm a big believer in that. But I would still say today that your SMS list should probably be 10 to 20% the size of your email list. just because like not everyone wants it.
Yeah, that's true. What's your stance on the SMS side of things? Like with how often you suggest sellers to actually use that? Because I've seen that get wildly abused and customers get very frustrated because they don't have, you can text stop and all that fun stuff. And sometimes that works, but sometimes you'll get sellers that'll just put them back in there and keep messaging them. Like, what's your process on that of making sure you're not annoying people too much?
Yeah. I love SMS around automation. So cart abandonment, post-purchase, and you just opted in, right?
Yeah.
Like here's the code that you signed up for or whatever. I love that. I think that if you get in the habit of sending a once a week, call it just a text blast, I think that's not, and that blast is basically the same content as your email. I think that's the problem. What I do love about like a one-time send of text is what I would call like that early access concept. Or I'll give you an example of one that I just absolutely love right now. One of our customers, Cove Essentials, is doing this. And she when she launches a new product, or if she's got supply that's kind of not up to her QA standards, she wants to sell those products, right? So she sends a text, a few hours early. It's the only type of discounting she does. And she only sends it through text first, right? So she sends it to text. She says, hey, QA sale, I've got some product. It's not perfect. It's final sale and it's marked off. So like you're getting first access because you're on SMS, right? And that's legit. And then like maybe the next day she sends an email and says, hey, there's a little bit left over. If the one you want is sold out, it's because I offer it to SMS first. And like, here's the way to join my SMS list. Like, I love that. Or new product drops where you're giving it to SMS first. I think beyond that, like you got to just stay away from that habit of just sending the same thing to both channels. It's not like posting on Instagram and TikTok. It's really not. So for automation on SMS, I'm huge. I think even in my personal life, I'd prefer to get that instant text after I make an order or get the cart abandoned. Like that's perfect. And then I think it's you got to be very true and like treat it like a VIP access thing for anything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great explanation to it. Some great insight, because basically like it comes down to you need to be providing value, right? So if you're just shooting them a text with, hey, we're having a sale, we know everyone's having a sale at all times. You could have emailed me that. I didn't need that. But if it's hey, I'm going to have a sale, but I want you guys you get in first, then it makes a lot of sense. And then obviously post-purchase and all that, those are there, but it is that I would definitely say that's probably the smartest way to do those big blasts.
Yeah. The other great like category of texts. I just got off a call with Joanne Coffey. She's the retention marketer for Jones Road Beauty, like really, hot D2C brand right now. The way that she started using text was just very informal pictures of them in the warehouse or like, behind the scenes stuff, just like a little bit closer, making it feel like you're more connected. Right? Like that's a great category of text to be sending that like, you're not really going to do that in email to like 100,000 contacts, but like you might do it to 1,000 people on SMS, and you might also be sending them early access stuff. So, I think there are pockets where you just got to come up with content that fits better for SMS and is different, not just to be different. And because everyone says that, like, that's the reality of it.
Yeah. What about from like a personalization standpoint, right? Like you obviously like, especially with Privy, you have pop-ups, SMS, email. So now you're getting all this data of basically every line of communication that someone might be having with their customer. At what level do you suggest people to personalize it based on the individual? Kind of like you would within a CRM, you can actually go in and see every little thing that one person's done and the conversations and all that. Like, is that something that you feel a lot of sellers should start to lean into is leveraging the data that they're bringing in?
Yeah. I think there's a few ways to think about personalization, just to like really make this tactical for people. There's the fact that you, through software, recognize what similar groups of people are doing, and that triggers a message or a pop-up or a, automation, right? That's automation, right? Or flows, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's a level of personalization, right? Sending a cart abandonment email is unique to the people, a group of people that abandon. So like, that's one level. That's like what I love. I love that stuff. And, I think it works for you. It creates more opportunities to get in front of them with a relevant message because you know exactly where they are in the journey. So I love that. The personalization stuff that, like the other category of it is like, merge tags and different things like that you're including in your message. I like that. I think that where that matters the most is at the top of your funnel, like your welcome series, right? If you can, through a quiz or, through knowing what product or what page or what ad they were referred from, make some inferences, like that's the place to use it, right? Like, oh, this is a male, or this person showed interest in, t-shirts as opposed to jeans. Like the welcome series should reflect that. And so you may want to think about like not overcomplicating it, not having one welcome series per product, but like per category maybe, or per gender, or per key attribute. Like, I think you just need to simplify, like, what is your approach to personalization? And I think if you're capturing, the 5 to 10 core automations that you want to be thinking about both on the website and through messaging, and then in your welcome series specifically, having like 1 or 2, noticeable differences on the content that you're putting in front of them based on interest. Like, I think anything beyond that feels like overkill to me.
Yeah. That was my question, is like, where do you think that line is drawn? Because I've seen it get creepy is the best way to put it. Like, you can land on a site and the landing page has your name on it, or, I know like you can I've also know that like marketers are notorious for finding out a cool thing that works and then just beating it to death until the customer doesn't like it anymore. And I feel that same way with like merge tags and personalization, especially with emails, because putting like, hey, first name and leaving it that way and doing it for every single email, it's kind of, it feels disingenuous after a while. So it does make sense that you would say like, a welcome series, like welcome Ben, welcome Andrew. And then from there, it's like, hey, this is how we do stuff, instead of creepishly, always adding their name in every page that they go to and stuff. What's your thought?
I don't think that level of personalization adds value.
Yeah.
No,
neither.
What's more valuable is having an 80%, accurate guess of where they are and what they're trying to do, and making it easier to do that. And the way you accomplish that is automation and segmentation, not like hyper personalization, Yeah.
Ben, it was awesome. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you guys are super busy over there. I would love to give you a minute here, tell everyone know where they can find out more about you and obviously Privy.
Yeah. Awesome to be here. Thanks, Andrew. Privy.com, Privy. Find us in the Shopify App Store. If you like the tactical stuff, I've got a podcast that I do called E-Commerce Marketing School. And I've got great guests like Andrew. I just got off with Joanne Coffey of Jones Road, many, many others. So thanks for having me on, Andrew. And thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for joining, Ben. Everyone else who tuned in, obviously, thank you as well for joining. Please make sure you do the whole rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff on whichever channel you prefer, YouTube, or just head over to ecommshow.com and figure out whichever podcast platform you like. But per usual, thank you all for joining. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in to the E-Comm Show. Head over to ecommshow.com to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on the BlueTuskr YouTube channel. The E-Comm Show is brought to you by BlueTuskr. a full-service digital marketing company specifically for e-commerce sellers looking to accelerate their growth. Go to BlueTuskr.com now for more information. Make sure to tune in next week for another amazing episode of the E-Comm Show.